to chapter 4, which is about organizing, pricing, and building your course for explosive growth, right? And so the estimated time to complete this, since the second time watching this, we'll be actually building out our course outline and building out our course content. This is one of the most intensive parts, of course, because you're actually creating the course that you're going to inevitably sell, right? A quote I absolutely love is, for every minute spent in organizing, an hour is earned, right? Similarly, for every ounce of prevention, you have a pound of cure, right? So we're going to spend a lot of time on the front end to save us a lot of time on the back end, trying to clean things up and improve things when we could have just thought about things a little bit longer and then made things better from the start. Right? Because if you do a bad job, a poor job of organizing your content without structure, without meaning, without intent, without a lot of intentional kind of tactics that we're going to show here about how to prevent refunds or how to, mitigate and lessen refunds. Obviously, you can't prevent some people; they just aren't ready to make the change that your course is going to provide. But we're going to show you how to organize content the right way to drastically increase the chances that your students are actually going to do it, right? And that they don't feel overwhelmed, and that they get the maximum amount of value from your minimum viable product, right? Because the thing is, you can always do things two ways. You can do it the right way, which takes longer generally, right? Or you can do it the short, fast way, which takes less time, but over the long term, right, you're not going to get as great of a return doing it the quick and easy kind of shortcut way. And so what we're going to talk about is not doing yourself a disservice through laziness, right? How to spend the proper time and thought organizing your course correctly from the start, right? Learn from all of the mistakes I made creating 3 different courses and the things that I wish I would have done differently and done better. And then we're going to talk about how to kind of avoid all of those mistakes the first time. Because people talk about traffic sources and getting new customers all the same way. Everybody mentions, Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube, Instagram, blah, 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 right? That stuff's important, and it's all true to an extent if you understand what you're doing. But at the end of the day, your truest source of never-ending free traffic is more important now than ever with the internet, right? The internet has created an instantaneous communication medium, and that infrastructure has never existed before recently, right? And that is either a really good thing or it's a really bad thing, depending on which type of company you are, right? If you're a dishonest, scammy company, right, not really providing any value, ripping people off, you don't care, right? You're not really helping anyone, and you're just generally not a very good, member of civilization, the internet's going to find out about that quickly, right? You're going to drift into obscurity. You're going to have to fight a bunch of chargebacks, unhappy customers, terrible reviews, and things like that. Or, if you're an honest company with a very valuable product, it's a very good thing, right? Because it means word of mouth is going to be your strongest ally. People are going to hear about you from their friends. People are going to hear about you from people's reviews, right? You're going to get a lot of testimonials and things like that. And so Steve Jobs has a quote I love. You've got to start with the customer experience and work backwards toward the technology, not the other way around, right? So we're going to talk about how to make the customer experience of absorbing your course content really kind of top notch, and then how that, indirectly is going to really make a massive impact for you via word of mouth marketing. Because if people aren't enjoying listening and learning from you, and you're not giving them those aha moments, right? It doesn't really matter how good your content is because you've already lost. If you're talking monotone like this and you're not into it and you're obviously not passionate and you're obviously not genuine and you don't really care about what you're talking about, you have to remember one thing, right? People are busy. People have problems. People have issues in their life, right? People have responsibilities that they're dealing with on a daily basis, right? And if you can be that salvation where people really actually enjoy watching you because you give what, and you really care, and you really are trying as hard as you can genuinely to help them with the information that you're giving them, right? They enjoy listening to you because of your passion and your genuinity. You're going to win, right? Because then they're going to actually watch all the content, and when they watch all the content and choose to actually implement that content, right, then you're going to really win because you're going to get results. And when you get results, right, everything changes. And if you can make learning enjoyable, you're going to have so many more success stories for your students, and you're going to inevitably make infinitely more impact. And again, when you make impact, you make money. So your content needs to do three things, right? You need to keep your students engaged with your passion and your energy and your smiles. You need to keep your students from being overwhelmed, right? How do you do that? You do that with specifically thought out intentional structure, which we're going to discuss in this chapter, and getting your students quick wins, right? Getting your first client changes everything. We've talked about that multiple times, but it's just the truth, right? It alleviates and kind of shatters that inherent instinctual self-doubt that all humans have, right? Once you get that first client and you make some money, you're like, oh my gosh, this works. Wow, this is awesome, right? Getting them quick wins. Number 3 is be the best, right? Create the most concise content you can possibly create after you absorb everything, right? Everything in your current niche, in your current ecosystem, everything that you could possibly kind of read and take notes on, all the YouTube videos, all the blogs, right? At least like synopses of all of the top books, right? It's your moral obligation to care the most, right? You don't have to be the world's foremost expert, but you do have to care the most. Any available info that you don't know, go read it, go learn it, go take notes on it, and absorb it into your own repertoire, right? And absorb it into your own experience and your own knowledge, so that you can then spread that. And if you figure out better ways to do things than even you're currently doing them, right? Integrate it. You have to just care the most and have the moral obligation to really care enough to do the research, right? The slightly higher willingness to Google things is the difference between millionaires and non-millionaires. I can guarantee you that. So what are you going to learn in this chapter? In this chapter, you're going to learn ninja techniques, right, to build your course outline quickly and efficiently. You're going to learn the strategies that I've used to build 4 different multi-million-dollar courses in exactly the same way, right? Starting with brainstorming and researching the entirety of the current quality market leaders, right? The most popular people in the space right now, and then building a chronological skeleton outline, right? So building an outline allows you to really get your ideas in order, and then you're able to kind of expand on those ideas. And then once you expand on those ideas, then you're able to really deliver the content in a much more chronological, succinct, fulfilling, concise way. And then branding your ideas to really make them stick. Because remember, you can call something the Amazon cheat sheet, or you can call something, right, the Amazon product research black box, like uncover the mystery behind, the top 10 best-selling products in history on Amazon. And then you're going to learn how to properly price your course with examples of successful courses and their pricing strategies. And you're going to learn the software that I use to host my videos, right? Where do you actually upload the videos so that you can embed them? You're going to learn the software that I use to record my screen like I'm doing right now. And then we're also going to talk about some bonus stuff on how I stay organized, with all of my virtual assistants, how I keep my team organized, right? Our project management tools, and how we actually maintain as high a level of productivity as we do with the least number of employees humanly possible, because human capital and employees, right, add an element of chaos to your business that you just don't necessarily need to deal with, right? Having employees and having clients is what gives you stress for the most part, right? There are obviously good examples of awesome clients and good examples of awesome employees, but for the most part, that's what introduces stressors into your life. The unpredictability and irrationality of employees and of clients. And so the whole point of your digital course empire is to mitigate and limit that to as low a number as possible, right? So you don't have any direct clients that are paying you for an ongoing service, and you don't have, an excessive number of employees who could potentially represent that stress in your life. So in this chapter, guys, we're going to talk about how to build your flagship course and all the technology that you need to properly do it. And so the goal for chapter 4 is to organize, price, and build your course for maximum ROI and the highest probability of success as a course, and more importantly, for your students to succeed. Because inevitably, if you get results for your students, your course will be successful. So we're going to teach you how to set things up to give the highest likelihood of your course being an explosive success and your students having explosive success with your course, which inevitably gives your course even more explosive success. So I hope you guys are excited for this one. It's going to be very good, and we'll see you on the next one.